It's hard to believe that the Blackballers have been around for 75 years.
All the great events, the championship nights, the dividends, the ladies' parties, unending joy.
The guys getting together, the camaraderie, it's one big fraternity. Hey, look who's over here.
Isn't it great to be part of the 75th anniversary for the Blackballers?
Yeah.
Stoked about it.
But Tito, why are we here? I'm still trying to figure that out.
I don't know.
We're happy to have you guys along.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This door is closed. It's under construction. You have to use the Madison entrance.
Hey, we're the Blackballers. We've been around for 75 years. We've got superpowers.
So how are we supposed to get in? We're not Blackballers.
I'm a Beaver. I mean, and we've been around for a heck of a long
I know
time.
the Bowler's been here longer than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, 75 years, that's nothing.
Exactly.
What do you think? We should maybe just see if we can just hop in?
Yeah, why don't we try?
Okay. Let me shoot up. Okay, let's go. Ready?
It's a particular honor to be president of the Blackballers in the 75th anniversary. And part of the special year was producing a 75th anniversary video. Dewey's done a great job in heading that effort, something we can all remember as we go forward.
Welcome to the Detroit Athletic Club. The DAC is a nationally recognized premier private club located in the heart of Detroit, Michigan. Originally founded in 1887, the DAC was established to become the center of amateur athletics in Detroit. It became home to the Motor City Mighty. 27 years later, in 1915, the DAC built a new facility on Madison Avenue. This architectural masterpiece was designed by famed architect Albert Kahn and continues to serve as the clubhouse today. Within the hallowed halls of this magnificent Madison Avenue clubhouse, DAC members can choose to join a variety of organized groups known as clubs within the club.
We have a lot of names of bowlers, we have a lot of names of beavers, we certainly have plenty of names of blackballers, but it's such a diverse group.
Blackballers compete in squash, handball, racquetball, and basketball. The Blackballers are also recognized as one of the DAC's prestigious 3 Bs, along with the bowlers and the beavers.
Today, obviously, we're celebrating 75 years of the Blackballers. They started as the Squash Handball Association in 1940, is when they became formally a group.
The group's founding members included DAC legends Ed and Bob Flint, Norm Frederick Sr., John Dodds, Tom Lott, F.H. Martin, John Reindell, H.B. Rule, Fred Schumann, Jim Spencer, Wesley Kropp, Marion Kellogg, Lacey Laughlin, and Martin Shea. This new Squash Handballs Association's stated purpose was to promote player and spectator interest and provide opportunities for social contact between squash and handball players.
There were a lot of individuals who were very passionate about handball and squash in particular. They've had a friendly rivalry, those two sports in particular, for the entire history of the Detroit Athletic Club.
Really until the 1940s that the Blackballers actually became a club within a club.
The formation of the first group that became today what's known as the Blackballers, the Squash Handball Association.
There was a booming local interest for both squash and handball. Matches on the DAC courts were fierce, and by 1947, there were more than 100 active players within the club. Throughout the better portion of the 1940s and 1950s, Norm Frederick Sr. established himself as the DAC's premier handball player, and he went on to carry the longest tenure as DAC singles champion, holding the title from 1942 to 1957. Also, by the mid-1950s, the DAC had earned its reputation as one of the most hospitable clubs in the country, so it was only natural for it to begin hosting regional and national tournaments for both squash and handball. Entering the 1960s, the DAC Squash Handball Association had continued to evolve. You've got to be tough to be a blackballer, noted an article in the December 1961 issue of the DAC News.
But the other great moment is in 1961 when they dubbed themselves the Blackballers, obviously in recognition of the little black ball that the handball players use, that the squash players use.
That waistline for waistline, the squash and handball set are a lean and hearty lot, and from now on, they are known as the Blackballers. The first officers under this new name were William Lichtenberg, Chuck Bigelow, and Jinx O'Brien.
Rex came in after Clarence Pinkston. There's been 3 athletic directors in the DAC history. Rex was probably the most integral part of the Blackballers.
Aubrey understood what it meant to compete on both the national and international stage.
I was the athletic director at the Detroit Athletic Club for 40 years, from 1962 to 2002.
And he was challenged to lift the Blackballers program to even greater heights. With this new momentum, it was clear that the future of the DAC Blackballers was indeed bright. By the late 1960s, the Blackballers had grown to over 200 members, one of which was George Haggerty Jr.
My name is George Haggerty. I became a DAC member in the fall of 1965.
But if you look at the winners on the boards, you know, you got George Haggerty, and Haggerty is obviously a name which is synonymous with the Blackballers and the DAC and everything else. So George won multiple squash, racquetball, the doubles, club championships, and you know he was on national stage as well. And
well, I remember walking into the old Isle of Yap, and in the Isle of Yap were all these boards that told about the past champions. And on the squash boards were the names of John Reindell and Tom Moran. And I knew those guys when I was growing up playing tennis. They were fine tennis players. And I looked at that board and I thought, boy, wouldn't that be something if I could get my name on that board.
In 1968, Haggerty won his first DAC Squash Hardball Championship and went on to dominate the squash courts for more than a decade, winning 12 consecutive singles titles. But he didn't stop there. Haggerty went on to win 8 more times for a grand total of 20. And for good measure, he added 3 squash doubles championships to his resume. He was also Blackballers president in 1983 and DAC president in 2005. And most recently was one of the original inductees into the Blackballers Hall of Fame in 2013. Another milestone event in DAC athletics was the hire of current athletic director Rob Barr in 2001. The DAC then hired squash professional Mick Joint in 2004. Joint came to the DAC from Montreal and instantly made his presence known.
one of the easiest ways to explain it, it's like racquetball, because everyone knows what racquetball is, except there's restrictions. The court is smaller, there's restrictions within the lines where you've got to hit the ball. The game's a lot more physically demanding and tactically more difficult.
Since Joint's arrival, not only has DAC Squash increased its number of players, but its number of tournaments too.
And so much of the club is nostalgic, and they really bring everything back, and they keep everything original as possible. And it's fun to be a part of that and to appreciate it. And a club that doesn't want to just retrograde everything and change it to super modern 2015. They're going to enjoy the history, and the Blackballers do the same thing. You know, the history of getting dressed up for your events and not just showing up in your sweatpants to dinner. And it's fun that way to, you know, really enjoy people and the social aspect of it too, and to get involved.
We try to come up with new ideas, do different things, make the program run smoother, ask the members to be responsible for showing up for tournaments and matches and all of that.
It's cool to see all those names on the walls, and all the goes back so far. It's, you know, it's really pretty unique.
It's amazing that we've come to 75 years. You know, the club as a whole has been around. This building's 100 years old, which is kind of cool. We've been playing in these walls for 75 of those years. It's just a special place. Even though the game's changed over the years, and we used to play a hardball game versus the softball game, the competition is still just as good as it ever was. You know, we have world-class squash here at the Detroit Athletic Club.
Yet another DAC Blackballers champion was Bruce Kennedy.
You take a ball and you hit it up against the wall.
A hard rubber ball that bounces very high.
Hoping that your opponent can't return that ball.
Right.
And if he doesn't return that ball, then you score a point. And you just go on and on till you hit 21, One of the other opponents hit 21, and that's the game.
Kennedy won local, state, and even national titles in handball, including 13 at the DAC, and he was inducted into the Blackballers Hall of Fame in 2013.
The 40s is more or less the first era when Norm Fredericks took over, and he ran for about 15 years. And it seems like our sport went in those kind of cycles. Then, like Chuck had said, Bob Denial, his partner, he reigned in the 50s and the 60s. And then I had the privilege of knowing Chief out at Palmer Park and all over Belle Isle and everything. And when he was here, I was so excited because then he ruled in the 70s, and finally in the early 80s, Ricky Howe, another good friend of ours, ruled that era, and he won 15 times. So now the young guys are taking over, and those are the basic eras that I remember.
Handball, you can find one player and burn 800 calories an hour and get your workout in. And so I thought I'd try that, and then just fell in love with it. I mean,
the first one was the best because we really weren't expecting to win. Rick Howe, his name is all over our board. Don Cologne's name's all over our board, and they were seasoned players at the time, and we just happened to beat them, and it was really a great victory. There were so many great people, a lot of people who would mentor you along and really help you learn the sport, and you just fell in love with the whole group of guys that made up handball. It was just a sport that, as you played it, you just never looked for something else to do.
It's the one sport that forces you to use both hands. You have to literally become ambidextrous, and that is another thing that makes it hard. A lot of people start, they just can't, if they're right-handed, they just can't get that left hand to work and stuff. But it's just a fantastic game, and it's very fast-paced.
I told him I could give him 19 points and beat him in handball. I could have given him 20. It's just that unless you play this game, you don't understand it, and it's harder than you'll ever imagine, but yet so rewarding.
And I had a brother who also played handball, and it was interesting. I started playing handball right after I joined because the club championship brackets started going forward for the tournaments, and he needed a doubles player, and he told me, you're going to learn how to play handball because I need a doubles player. So that's kind of how I started playing handball.
It should be in the Guinness World Book of Records. We played for 35 years plus, and the interesting thing is we never got divorced. Most guys that play singles have problems after a few years. After 10 years, they hate one another. But we managed. And until the very end, Phil played handball as long as he could, and our friendship always grew. A son named Phil Mebus III was stricken with cancer and passed away in the 90s. The family sponsored an award to promote the game of handball and recognize handball players that contribute from all aspects of the game.
We were all down in the tap bar, and we had 2 Manhattans, maybe 10, and we were trying to figure out how we could play handball all week without having our significant others angry with us. And we came up with the concept of a commissioner's tournament. And we decided that to get the wives on our side, we would have Waterford Crystal as the prizes. And we've been doing it for 30 years, and it's the one tournament that the significant others all want to know when it's going to happen. Well, we decided that since this was not going to be under the auspices of the Blackballers or the Handballers specifically, we needed a new group. And so I appointed myself the head of the group as the commissioner for life. And nobody disagreed because most of them couldn't talk at that point anyway. So I've retained the title to this day. And the other people that were there at the time were Peter Hanley, John Marshall, Mike Solner, Kip Anderson, and Tom Fabry.
And the hope of the great.
I've been member at the DAC since 2009 and have been playing racquetball. That's the reason why I joined. I love it.
Racquetball officially became the third sport of the group in 1975, and during the same year, its first DAC tournament was held, with an impressive 47 participants. And once racquetball began being played at the DAC, the Blackballers didn't waste any time rallying around it.
One of the reasons why I joined the club was to play racquetball and to play with good players like Mikey. Then I'm still looking for an opportunity to beat Mikey.
Go in the fall and immediately started playing racquetball down here, trying to get back into some cardio kind of shape in a fun way, and that's what it's all about.
You got a rubber ball, you got a stick that you swing about as hard as you can. The ball goes 200 miles an hour up until the front wall. It bounces every which direction. It spins. It's a little dangerous. That's why we put on the goggles, and we get a little black and blue every once in a while.
That's right.
Extremely fast, and there's a lot of different skill involved. You can do ceiling shots, hard low shots, around the world shots that go all the way around the court.
You have to understand the court. You have to understand your positioning. You have to understand where your opponent is at. You can't just, there's a strategy to the game. You have to hit the ball very fast, and you have to place it in a direction that your opponent can't get to. If the ball bounces twice, and then you get a point. But you have to understand the court. And also your footing has to be great.
It's pretty simple. You just keep the ball away from your opponent, right? But the ball is bouncing every which direction, so your opponent gets plenty of chances to hit the ball back. The key is not to make mistakes. Make sure you keep your opponent on his hind feet and hit the ball hard.
Hit the ball hard. I mean, you need to have a glove so that you grip your racket very hard. You don't want the racket to get loose of your arm. You need good shoes and good outfit to suck up some of the sweat. That's why we actually joined the club, was to make friends. You know, we come here, you meet new people, you know, you expand your friends directory. We're all friends, we come out, we compete very hard. After that, we drink beer, we cheers, and then we move on. So that's why we're here.
I still enjoy the many friendships I have forged over the past 30 years as a Blackballer. I am proud to claim the title of Detroit Athletic Club Blackballer.
Blackballers' fourth sport, basketball, had originally been played at the DAC as far back as the 1890s, but only made its resurgence at the club in the fall of 1983.
The idea kind of came up in 83 in the Intermediate Council to team with the Blackballers to actually not really start a DAC basketball league, because there had been a great DAC league back in earlier years. It just had been dormant for a number of years, and we thought, geez, we should recreate this.
Thanks to an idea co-sponsored by the DAC Intermediate Council and the Blackballers, the first New Era Basketball League was organized under the leadership of intermediate members Doug Krasanik and Paul Kavanaugh.
We thought we'd get a few people, the younger guys, the intermediates, that would come on, and within a week we had over 50, 75 responses, something like that, from not only intermediates but also from older members who were interested in playing it. So clearly there was a pent-up demand for basketball here.
As with the other Blackballer sports, once the competitive juices were flowing, basketball at the DAC was an immediate hit. In fact, within 3 months of the new league being announced as just a possibility, over 50 DAC members had signed up to play. New portable basketball backboard and hoop was added to the gymnasium to accommodate a Tuesday and Thursday night league.
All they had was the out-of-bounds lines, and they had one little line about this long for the free throw line.
Right.
No key. That was all we had.
That's right.
And we had portable baskets. Well, we had a legit basket down here, but we had a portable basket here that was on a pole, and there was like no baseline. So if you drove the basket, and there were some guys in this league that weren't necessarily finesse players, let me put it that way. Pete Lyons, remember Pete Lyons?
Oh, yeah.
Pete Lyons would run you into the stage. And you go, Pete, what's up? He goes, well, there's padding on it. I mean, it was brutal.
It's a social group too. You can do a lot of things that are not necessarily on the court to get to know the guys better.
Well, the first 10 minutes of the game are all light-hearted,
Yeah, right.
joking
Yeah,
around.
everybody's hugging and
And then,
kissing,
yeah,
right.
and smart aleck comments. And then by the midway of the end of the game, it's a serious ball game. No one's talking, and everyone's no longer loosey-goosey. Or
I've had balls thrown at me pretty hard. I've had a duck.
Friendships are made and sometimes temporarily broken
That's right.
for a week or so.
And then the camaraderie all comes back right after that.
It's the continuity, seeing the same guys, drafting a different team, getting to play against certain matchups or rivalries. And also it's the accountability too. We do play very hard on this court. Sometimes the elbows are thrown. Sometimes we get after each other. But we're all members of this club. You've got to shake hands in the locker room and you got to see each other next week.
You know, there was such great camaraderie with the group, and we just, you know, we used to go downstairs and drink beer downstairs or go out to one of the bars and have a few beers afterwards. But it was a great group. I'm still, you know, I met a lot of these guys just in the league, and they're friends today. I see them at the club. I see some of them in business, and it was a great group of guys. I really enjoyed them. I hope that that's continuing today.
I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Right. But if you don't have this, you don't have anything.
Nothing at all. So that was Bernie Foos. Hold on, let me get a little shot of the ring. Does he have the ring on?
I remember back in the day, the draft was the worst player got the first pick. Well, now there's actually a randomized draft. It's far more organized than it was when we started the league.
2013 Detroit Athletic Club Open League Men's Basketball Draft. Joe's Bunch selects Jack Bruzewitz. Hey, welcome to the club. Thank you. What's your name? You guys see it. How you doing? Airplane. You'll find out in a couple weeks.
Every draft is like Christmas. You got a new team, you got a new season, everyone's got a level playing field, a new chance to win a championship. And as someone that's never won a championship, I still get just as excited every year to find out if I can win that championship.
I'm winning, man. Arms in the air, that's how I'm feeling, man.
But that makes it fun. Every season's a new season. And I look at it like Christmas. Every draft was really special to me.
Then I got addicted to being around the guys that I was with. And like, hey man, this is a really cool group of people. And so in 25 years, I hope it's the same way with more people in a bigger gym.
Yep. I look at the board at all the sports and see all the names that are memorialized up there. And I look at those guys differently as I meet them, as I walk around the club.
In July, we go to to Harson's Island, to the old club, where we have more athletic competition with the Beavers and Bowlers. It's called the 3Bs Old Club Outing. Had our softball team win, which we hadn't done in several years. So we had to sweep a doubleheader to do it, and I've never seen a happier group of guys. In addition to that, we have a ladies' party. Our wives look forward to that. So we have dividends for each of the disciplines, as well as 3 dividends for all of the Blackballers. And we just try to get together as much as we can and keep that little boy in us alive.
So how do you become a Blackballers president?
Well, you got to play a lot, play sports for a lot in the club, and make some friends, and serve on one of the subcommittees to show that you can get the job done if you were lucky enough to be elected president.
Yes, every January, the past presidents, the Blackballers, get together and discuss the candidates that are running for the board of directors of the DAC.
I was Blackballer president actually twice. Probably the only past president who was twice, and I was started the first time in 1991 and the second time in 1996. The one and only, I loved squash, and for 48 years, almost, I played squash.
You were Blackballers first, and then you played your sport, whether it be squash, basketball, racquetball, or handball. So that I would say, at the end of my term, I felt that was achieved.
My favorite part of the Blackball organization was just the competition and the club championships.
So putting together a few extra little tournaments that got that little elevated level of competition was what I tried to do, and that's what I enjoyed the most.
The year that I was head of all the athletic stuff here, the club fell on very hard times, and the directors and the business end of the club came to all the athletes and said, you guys need to step up here, get some members in and things like that, because we're kind of the core of the place. Everybody else, the thing, if something happens in your life and you need to make some changes, the club is the first thing that goes, if you're using it in other ways, but not for the athletes. So that was a very fond memory of us, and now the club is thriving. I came across this old t-shirt from the 60s, which I wanted to kind of show here. This is the old DAC label, and they don't do this anymore, but that embroidered stuff, it really kind of speaks to that legacy. And the current president of the club, Tom Fabry, was at the memorial, and we may be bringing these back.
My fondest memory is in 1999 in the club singles tournament. I managed to make my way through the event into the finals and played one of the great players of our club, Rick Howe. And we were in the finals, and we had the courts up on the roof still at that time, really great courts. And I was able to come up with a win, and that was my first win. Probably the brightest moment ever in handball. I've played many events, but that one was sweet.
I had my kids write a note to Steve to say, please let my dad win. And I had a robe that I brought out, and it had Super Steve on the back of it. So I thought, this is something that will intimidate this guy and I will win. It didn't work. So he had me out there, he let me play, he embarrassed me in front of my two kids, then only two, I've got three now. And from that point on, I said, you are not my friend anymore. And I was only kidding, but he's still a member, we still play handball, and we have a great time.
Well, over the years, many squash players thought handball was an easy game to learn. And it came to be that one night in the tap bar, one of the squash players bet me $100 that he could beat me at handball. And that was the $1 bills you see at the bottom. He obviously lost. Later on, another squash player who was just as eager bet me $200. Same rules. As you can see from the award that I have here on my left, those $200 bills are in each corner. And if that wasn't enough, there was one final past president of the club who bet me $100 that he could beat me at handball. Those rules were much tighter. He wanted to serve, he wanted 15 points, which I gave him, and I beat him 21-17.
We're always trying to make sure that we have an environment here that members truly can enjoy, make the most of, be proud of, a place in the city that stands out, a place of pride, if you will.
They have built their storied club within the club on the foundation of competition, camaraderie, and traditions, and the story is certainly one of a kind. As competitors, this is what being a blackballer is all about. To have your name forever immortalized on the board of your sport is a true honor, and one fitting of a Detroit Athletic Club champion.
Tradition.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Camaraderie. Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Loyalty.
Lifestyle.
Integrity.
Community.
Hangover.
Fantastic.
Fun. Togetherness. Legacy.
Personalities.
Leadership. Friendship.
Team.
Meetings.
Plum.
Hollow.
Friendships.
Supercalifragilistic ESPN atrocious.
Brotherhood.
Friendship. Relationships. Fun.
Fraternity.
Teamwork. Foul. Family.
Tradition. Camaraderie.
Spectacular.
Welcome DAC members to the 2015-2016 Blackballers Draft. We had the opportunity to go down here and check out the members as they draft their teams down to perfection. This must be a science or something. But first, out of all the disciplines, let's jump into squash.
Who was the #1 overall pick this year?
Jed Ellie.
Jed Ellie.
Last year too.
He's a very good squash player.
He's the best. He's a club championship champion.
The way it works is Mick has set up the levels of the players. Whoever picks #1 picks #1. And then we go through, we have 9 teams, then we go back around and 9 will pick one in the second round and so forth and so forth.
We're looking like we're going for another championship over here.
I'm going to take
We're going deep with 17 people per team this season.
It's just about getting in the game. And once you get in the game, you're just going to keep getting better, keep moving up, winning points for your team. The best thing about the Boaster League is you get a point if you show up. You get a point if you show up and drink beer. So, it's very important to show up.
We're playing with
We're gonna win.
Sanjay. We're going to win.
Oh, don't play the butternuts. Don't play the butternuts. Okay. We're going to take it down.
The draft is over.
How did it go for you?
I made some pretty risky moves. I drafted down a few times. I made one little trade halfway through it. I'm pretty happy with my team. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, guys. They're really getting it together over there in squash, building up those teams. Good luck with those championships. Now let's check out handball.
Bob Kozak, he actually trumps me because he is commissioner for life of handball. Is that correct?
Self-appointed.
Let's look over the handball table. There is no draft going on.
There's something going on over here. Right?
Are they drafting right there?
They're playing it pretty close.
Yeah. We're here with Steve Howard. He is Blackballers secretary for this year. He's also a handball player, and the draft just finished. How did it go, Steve?
Went great. It's always tough with these guys. Some of these handball players have been down here playing for 45 years, and it's kind of the old, the tough, and the wise. So you want to make the right pick, but we think we got a good draft tonight.
You can take a quick look at this trophy, the Walter Briggs Trophy. That's for the old club outing that the Blackballers won back in July. We're going to get this trophy properly presented to us here shortly. And the old club outing on Harson's Island. I want to personally thank all of you that attended and competed. I'm proud to announce that the Blackballers won the cup from the Beavers.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, handballs are true veterans there. They seem to got that all wrapped up. Hey, now that we checked out handball, let's see what's going on in racquetball.
Racquetball, we hope you have a wonderful year, and we hope you've drafted somewhere somehow.
Okay, that was racquetball. Hey, so now let's get down to it. What we've been waiting for. Let's get into some basketball.
The 2015-16 draft is open. Thank you once again, captains. Let's do this. Let's keep it timely. You don't have to use all 90 seconds. Well, other than that, thank you all once again. I really appreciate it.
Great job.
Let's do it.
I've done my best to try and evaluate talent. Usually I end up pretty good, but some smart guys at the table. You just hope to be there in the end with a good, solid team,
Dave Logan.
Dave Logan. Dave Logan, the commissioner, is off the board.
To Mr. Sanders for giving me the opportunity and gracing me with his first overall pick. I appreciate it.
The pick that went too high in my regard, I mean, Dimitri, how does Dimitri go second?
Right? How do you feel about that? A lot of pressure, isn't it?
A lot of pressure. I think I'm going to have to come this year ready to play.
Ready to play?
Yeah, ready to play and show people what I can do.
I'm with Mr. Marshall, young athletic guy. He can play a few different positions. He can guard a big or guard, so I'm real excited to have him part of my team.
What's the name of your team this year?
So no fly zone. So we're intentionally drafting big rim protectors. So we got 3 guys, 6'6".
So I'm big and I'm a rim protector. My name is actually Airplane. How come you didn't draft me?
Dewey, you got snatched up right before us.
Shake and Bakers reunited. We are now called the Rose con pollo, rice and chicken.
Winning man, 2, 3. I'm winning man. Arms in the air, that's how I'm feeling, man.
Team name is interesting. But I'm very excited, to be honest with you.
Number 1, baby, chicken.
I really felt like I was a champion last year. If you all recall, I drafted the team.
I think every single year we've got a chance to win a championship. The players do their jobs, the coaches do their jobs. We'll get back there and we'll see what happens.
Well, we just finished up the 2015-2016 Detroit Athletic Club Blackballers draft. What an amazing night. Awesome as always. The squash, handball, basketball programs did what they always do. They drafted, and they drafted. Awesome. Racquetball, we got a little bit of work to do. Maybe I'm going to make that my whole mission this year, is to get this racquetball program back on its feet here at the Detroit Athletic Club. Anyway, it was a wonderful night. We look forward to a wonderful year. See you on the course. Booyah!